guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is all about taking notes in lectures. For the last 2 years of university, I've kind of, through trial and error, found a way that suits me best and enables me to take the best notes in lectures. So I thought I would share with you some of the things that I've learned, some of the things that I do, and just things that I find really helpful and useful, because no matter what year you're in or what subject that you study, taking notes in lectures is vital for your exams, for essays, and even once you progress throughout university, just looking back on for a point of reference. So having good notes is essential. So without further ado, here is the first bit of advice. Okay, so the first thing to decide before you're even thinking about taking notes is how you're going to take notes. So you can choose to either write or type. I personally like to type just because I find that it's quicker, it's easier, and it's neater because my handwriting is awful. But it is personal preference. So I'm going to run through some of the advantages for each method, and then I guess you can decide which one that you find easier. Typing is easier because you can have one big document. So I have one big document for each module. I have my lectures, my seminar notes, pre-reading, any questions I need to do for the seminar, everything's in one big document. And I have a contents page at the top which is hyperlinked to each section, so I can go into a lecture and think, oh, what was the lecture last week, click it and find the page, read the notes. I find that so much easier than just flicking through pages of handwritten notes. Also, when you type, you can do Control F, you can put hyperlinks in for any reading that the lecturers want you to look at, any blogs, things like that. I find that much easier. You can copy and paste from the lecture slides, or you can copy and paste from textbooks a lot easier. So if there's a sentence or a quote, rather than having to handwrite that out, you can literally just bang it straight in the document. So for me, typing saves a lot of time. However, writing, I'm much quicker at handwriting than I am at typing. So in a situation where I would need to write a lot down quickly, it would be kind of preferable to write, and if you're like that, then I guess you might prefer to write. Plus I think it's easier as well if you're going to use colours and things like that to switch about with pens, and if you want to do drawings or diagrams or flowcharts and things, that's way easier to do on a handwritten document. Plus you have choice of paper, so if you prefer squared or plain or lines, you can have that choice when you write. Also you can file them pretty easily and you don't have to faff about with printing stuff off. You can just bang it straight in a folder and have dividers and things separating it. So there is pros, I think, for both methods, and it is literally just personal preference. So my next few points cover formatting. So it is essential, okay, to write down the date, the lecture, and who is giving it, and the module. In first year, I would literally just write down Lecture 2, EU Law, and I'd be like, what is it on? Who gave it? It would mess with my head a lot. In second year, and especially now in third year, I've made a point of before even the lecture has started, just writing in from the slides who is giving it, because I find that I remember through visual. So if I think, okay, this person gave it, it kind of triggers my memory a bit more. And then what the lecture is actually on, the subject or the module, and then the date, the full date. Plus with York, see, we have lecture capture, so knowing that information can really help me to go back and find that lecture and rewatch it. And the next thing is slides. So at my university, they release the slides normally in advance. Some lecturers do, some lecturers don't, but most of them do. So if they have released the slides in advance, I basically just skim through the slides and just kind of pick out, any key subheadings that I know I'm going to want to look at, or, just generally the gist of what that lecture is going to cover, so I can mentally kind of prepare and think, okay, I know what it's going to be on, I can contribute on X, Y, Z, or if there's some terms I'm a bit unfamiliar with, then I might look them up, just so that when I'm coming into the lecture, I kind of can wrap my head around it as quickly and easily as possible. And then my next point is colour. Colour is actually really important for having a really effective set of notes. I personally use colour in seminar notes, so I differentiate between case law and statutes in tables of red or blue, and if it's key information then it might be green or orange, things like that. So I do it in tables. But for lectures, I use the bold, italic, or underline sort of functions to differentiate between case law, subheading, key information. I think using colours just makes things a lot easier, in that when you are looking back through your notes, you're knowing what to look for. So for me, if I see something bold, I know that that's a case. So if I'm looking for something in particular when I'm scanning back through my notes, you can just look for the colours or whatever you use. But it is important to use the same system throughout your whole set of notes. And finally, the last way to make really great lecture notes, and I think honestly this is one of the things that comes with time, you get better at it as you go throughout university. It's about content and learning what to put in your notes and what is relevant and what isn't relevant. So for me, when I'm in lectures, I much prefer just to listen to what the lecturer is saying and take it in as if you're having a conversation with them, but one-sided conversation, but you know what I mean? Just listen to what they have to say and mull it over in my mind. And then I ask myself, would what they've just said be useful to me in an exam? Or if I was explaining such a concept to somebody else, would this be on the list of key information? And if the answer is no, then I don't write it down, because, you know, some things are just good trivial facts, but they will not help you in an exam. They won't get you any more points of just descriptive things. Whereas if it's actually key information, that's what I write down. I think at first, you know, there's nothing wrong with just literally writing everything down that you possibly can. But, you know, I think if you do focus on writing everything down all the time, that you're not really understanding or processing what they're saying. You're just focusing on writing it all down, and you can kind of leave the lecture feeling like you didn't really gain anything from it. So I think if you just kind of focus and listen to what they're saying and thinking, actually I'll need that, and then write it down then, that's the best way to take notes. And as a little add-on at the end, I think it goes without saying that once you've obviously produced all your lecture notes, then it's really helpful to maybe produce a summary page or go back through as like a revision technique to like summarize it and condense it even more. I think that can just really help you understand the subject matter. So that concludes all of my tips to make really good lecture notes. I hope they were helpful. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments below as always. I'll see you in the next video. I'll see you next week. Bye guys.